Today is Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 44, Week 12.
This episode's titled, I'm the Bandit, and that's spoken by Carolyn. We got that very early in the episode.
And we both guessed that it was Carolyn that said it.
Yes, in some of our pre-episode banter.
Right. Who do you think said it?
Yes.
Who do you think? We both thought it was Carolyn.
Yep. Okay, back at Camp Vava. It's night 21, and someone said, what a great tribal. Was that Yam Yam?
I believe so.
And then Yam Yam did say, I said Carolyn had an idol. If anyone was going to have an idol.
100,000 times. If someone has it, it's Carolyn. You were right.
Carolyn says that she's excited she got to whip out an idol. And she also commented that she did not need to play it, but she found it very satisfying.
Well, Carson thanked her and told her she's so sweet for playing it for him anyway. And she's like, well, of
thus
course.
begins the big recounting of how she got the birdcage idol and how she hid the fake one and the creation of the Red Cross fake and all of that.
I do think that Carson or Yam Yam should have tried to pull her aside and go, zip it up, don't tell them all your thoughts, your tricks, your everything. Don't give it to him yet. Save it for the finale.
I doubt he had any opportunity to get a word in edgewise once she started rolling.
Certainly sure that they didn't.
We got it in a confessional from Yam Yam where he said she's talking too much. She's blowing her cover. Goodness.
Yep, putting an even bigger target on herself, and mostly from him.
And even Carolyn eventually recognized that she might have goofed, and she said, but don't think I'm a good player, after she celebrated herself and all her clever moves.
Yeah, I think she just got overly excited and she could not contain it.
I'm pretty sure she threw him off her trail with that comment, though. Don't think I'm good.
Yeah, right.
Jamie acknowledged and told us that Carolyn was faking out everyone. They all woke up to a huge threat that evening.
Okay, day 22, almost. Carson wakes up.
It's not sunrise.
Who's sneaking out of camp?
He said that Heidi was stirring around and then she got up to go searching, pretending initially that she might be going off to the bathroom, but he knew that was just a fake, a farce.
So who does he wake up?
Come on, Carolyn.
Just Carolyn.
Let's go after her.
Why just Carolyn?
Well, they're buddies.
Well, yeah, but he's supposed to be buddies with Yam Yam.
And who better to find
Jamie
a sneak
Lauren.
who than someone who had found an idol before? So definitely you go to the expert, Carolyn.
True.
But it turns out everybody's searching. So as soon as the sun's up, we get to see them all out there looking around in the jungle.
Heidi was just getting a head start. But if they planted one, nobody found it.
Heidi says that she is not comfortable at all. Even though she does have an idol, she would much prefer to have two and play them back to back.
Yep.
Maybe she would have some legacy in the game if she did that.
True.
And she acknowledged that she was potentially an easy vote out, which was exactly what I was thinking, so I agreed with her.
Well, I chose Lauren.
Speaking of Lauren, what did you think about her ploy to get Carolyn to go up the tree to get a coconut?
Oh, that was too funny.
Carolyn busted her, though. So
Yeah.
you're trying to lure me into a trap?
You just want a coconut.
Yeah.
She's like, well, yeah, you could get up there. Well, she is a lot taller than Lauren.
I wouldn't help you at that height. You'd have to be willing to shimmy.
Yeah,
And
I
Lauren-
wouldn't risk it.
Lauren tells us that Carolyn plays clueless, but she's really a scary player. Got to watch out for her.
But she also clues us in that she finds her very lovable.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she just wrote her name down the night before she saw it. I mean, she crossed it out and put Danny, but her name was still under there, and you could see it.
Maybe she doesn't know who did that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she did.
Well, we can see Lauren talking with Carson and Jamie and Yam Yam, and Lauren's pitching her as the next to go. We need to get rid of Carolyn. She's a big threat.
And Yam Yam and Carson go along with it.
Yes, which is always a good thing to do, I think, in the moment.
Well, sure. With everyone, whatever they're saying.
As opposed to hedging your bets.
Yep.
Yeah. And being the holdout and drawing attention to yourself in the process.
And they're all extremely aware that no matter what people say, they may or may not vote that way. It's their best guess who's going to actually do it or not.
It made sense in the moment. Lauren convinced me he could tell him. Well, we do get a confessional with Carson there, and he says that he's staying with Carolyn and Yam Yam, but he wants Lauren and Jamie to be comfortable. And he's been working with them. I figured that he was working himself into a swing position with those two pairs, staying with Carolyn and Yam Yam, and also having an option with Lauren and Jamie.
That is not a bad plan at all, because then he could go either way. And especially now that Yam Yam's trying to go against what Carson really wants.
Carson tells us that Tika's together, so either Lauren or Jamie are next. Reward challenge.
Yeah, why not Heidi? How come he didn't say Heidi?
Dunno.
That surprised me.
Well, he doesn't see Heidi as a threat, is the primary answer. Although I think he's been working with Jamie and Lauren to keep votes on Heidi as a backup plan.
Well, absolutely. And I thought that's what happened last week, was that, they said, let's split the vote. We'll vote for Danny and you vote for Heidi. And we'll get one of them out.
Okay, on to the reward challenge. We've definitely seen this one before. So they're going to divide up into teams, and they got one of those big rolling balls, and the person inside the ball that's strapped inside of it and gets rolled upside down in every which way can see, but the two players rolling the big ball are blindfolded. So they're counting on the person that's getting spun around every which way to be able to guide them through the course. And there's some distance to that course.
It was really funny when Carolyn lost them, and they had to direct her how to find them again. She was way behind.
So they've got obstacles that they've got to roll through, and there's gates they got to make it through.
Over,
and then
around. And
at the end, they roll the ball up onto a platform, and the two blindfolded players continue blindfolded, and they have to do one of those table tilted mazes with a, it's kind of like an oversized version of one with a bigger ball. And
with the person in the ball, maybe still
guiding
partially
them
upside down.
Yeah, guiding them through the maze.
Well,
what did you think of the reward for this?
Oh, that was, anytime you get food out there, I'm sure that is beyond awesome.
Well, not only food,
but they got to sit in a comfortable place. They got a foot massage. I'd have been like, the rest of me too, please. Yeah.
So they got sandwiches and chocolate and cookies and fruit.
Oh, yeah, macaroons.
And juice and iced tea. So.
And a foot massage. It doesn't get much better than that unless you got a family visit.
They draw for teams, and on purple we've got Jamie as the caller inside the ball with Heidi and Carolyn rolling Jamie, and Heidi and Carolyn are blindfolded. And for the orange team, Carson's inside the ball, calling, giving instructions, and then Yam Yam and Lauren are the blindfolded rollers.
Well, obviously Heidi in that one section didn't need Carolyn at all. She just continued rolling.
Yep. There wasn't enough mass in Jamie to hinder it at all. Heidi could totally take care of it.
Maybe when they had to go around or over something difficult or get them
roll
into
up
position.
Onto the platform.
Yes, but not just rolling in a flat area.
And Carolyn did eventually catch up. Orange did a good job of blocking purple right at the beginning, because there's at the beginning it funnels down to where only one ball can roll through at a time, and Orange got out ahead, and Carson was doing a really good job of calling. And
Yeah, they were almost at the end of the maze by the time Purple
got there,
really got there and started.
to the obstacle course.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Purple got hung up at the start.
Yeah, they did.
And then, like you said, Carolyn got lost, and Orange ends up at the table maze.
And
Purple gets stuck again along the way, and then Orange wins.
Yay.
They did seem to make up some ground. Purple did get to the table maze.
Yeah, they were really going to town.
They were like about a step behind at that
they
point.
weren't that far behind.
It was almost like Orange had slowed down.
Well, they knew they had to just go for it. There was no being as careful or slow. They just, if they had any chance at all, they just had to go for it.
So Carson, Yam Yam, and Lauren.
Lauren?
Yes. I was looking at my notes. I was like, I'm missing someone. There we go. Yam Yam, Lauren, and Carson win, and Probst declares there was some great leadership by Carson. And Yam Yam is just excited beyond himself because it turns out this is his first reward here on day 22.
Yeah, he said he only got 2 bananas off the basket they got or something. Wow. That's,
Jamie, Heidi, and Carolyn are headed back to camp, and Jamie tells us in a confessional that this is a huge opportunity to talk with those two and to come up with a plan to break up Tika. So she's excited for that.
I thought, well, yeah, though Carolyn is part of Tika.
Yeah, not quite sure how that's going to go. So, interesting. Okay, off to the sanctuary. And Bula.
Bula?
Yeah, that's what they say as a greeting or welcome. And
oh, okay.
Yam Yam tells us he is home at the reward here, and he's enjoying the fresh macaroons. Lauren,
they did look good.
Yeah, Lauren tells us that as a single mom, she doesn't get much opportunity for pampering, so she's really enjoying this.
I can believe that. And the sandwiches even look, the sandwiches to me don't always look good, but those looked good.
Yes, and at least things weren't covered with flies like they were that previous time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't
do
flies.
Not that we saw.
Don't do bugs.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, when you're hungry, you're just like, yeah, no problem. But that one shot that we managed to freeze frame, we're like, what is that? Is that raisins? No, those are not raisins. That's raisins with wings.
Okay, you can stop talking about that anytime.
Okay. Yam Yam just can't get the strategy out of his head.
Nope. They relax for just a little bit, and then he's got to talk about it, and Lauren was ready too.
Yep. Carolyn played that idol, made herself a huge threat, and that's what Carson opens with.
Yep.
She's indeed a huge threat. Gonna have to go next.
Yep, he's saying it for Lauren's benefit, but Yam Yam is serious.
Seems to be that way, huh?
Yeah, Carson's just still trying to keep Lauren comfortable.
Yeah.
So she's with them, but Yam Yam really does think it's time.
Yep, they're at 6, and he's got to figure out how to get to the end, he tells us.
I don't know about if he's just upset that she lied to him so many times, or that he's upset that he believed her lies.
I didn't get that sense at all. It's just that she raised her threat level so unnecessarily with all the details once they got back to camp that she just kind of blew everything. She just blew it up.
Yeah, but she's with them. I still think, why would you break up Tika when there's still numbers that could pick the other two of you off? All right, and then back over to Vava. Jamie's telling them, if we want to give Carson the $1 million, then take him to the end.
I like that just before that, Heidi said that we got to dig deep because we're tired. Carolyn started the fire for him.
Oh.
And then Heidi said, well, this looks like a final 3 that works for me right here.
Yep, or any final 3 as long as she gets there. So Carolyn actually agrees with her that, yeah, we can't take Carson.
I liked Carolyn's approach. She said, who's our biggest threat? And that's when Jamie was talking about Carson. Yeah.
Yeah, at least she's asking their opinions. And
We don't
she
see that.
tells us in confessional
Yeah.
that no, she needs Carson at least one more week.
Yep, can't lose him yet.
So, that's the first time I thought that, would she really vote him out? I really thought she was going to.
In the moment that Jamie's gone, Carolyn turns to Heidi and says, "Do you trust Jamie?" Heidi says no, and Carolyn says, "No, me either."
We can't trust Lauren or Jamie.
Heidi says, "Me, you, and Yam Yam to the end. We'll be the final three."
That's the thing. Everybody tells everybody.
Yeah.
It just depends on whoever's there and whatever they're saying.
It's all in the moment.
I agree, whatever it is.
Heidi tells us in her confessional that she's got an idol, but they voted for her.
And that nobody knows about it.
So she's got an idol, but they're making her a little anxious too.
Yep.
And then the orange team gets back, and Carolyn requests that Yam Yam burp in her face, in her nose.
Ooh.
Well, in her mouth and then in her nose, she says.
Yeah.
And Yam Yam immediately complies, delivers, just like that.
Gross.
He was ready.
Okay. I don't want to think too much on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross. Carolyn tells Carson that they want you out.
They're pitching you,
Your
Carson.
name's coming up. So
And then
that's
she
making
says-
Carson nervous.
Yep. Then she says, next vote, we need to either get rid of Jamie or Lauren. Okay, important. Remember that.
Yep.
And Carson tells us he's all about Tika Strong.
And Yam Yam tells Jamie he wants to vote off Carolyn. And
Carolyn
she's
is the
okay
big
with
threat.
that.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, we can flip to Carolyn, Carson, I don't care. As long as Atika goes. Which my thought is, but you're still talking to Atika. I don't get why they would split up yet.
I think that's evidence of Yam Yam's social game. He was making connections. He was working.
Well, I think they all have been. All three of them, I think. So has Carson. Obviously, Point and Casey.
We've seen evidence.
Bringing along Jamie and Lauren.
We've seen Carson and Yam Yam for sure. I don't know that we had seen prior to this episode much, if anything, significant from Carolyn.
Yes, but that's because they didn't show us, maybe, not because she wasn't doing it.
Could be.
Because she seemed comfortable doing it today.
Yam Yam says he knows crazy. He's crazy, and he knows crazy works for Carolyn, so he can see the real threat there.
Yeah, and he seems to really believe it's time for Tika 3 to break up.
He tells Jamie that his superpower is being a lie detector, and he could tell she's not lying.
Yep.
And better yet, she didn't write his name down.
Yep.
Because if
Well,
you write his name,
She told him, right? I never
she knew what to
voted
say.
for you.
She knew what to say.
Never.
Knew what he wanted to hear for sure.
Yep.
He said, that's how I know. That's how I have a superpower. And then Yam Yam tells us in a confessional that he wants to win. And he's very happy that Jamie hadn't written his name down. Otherwise, he would have had to send her to the jury. Because that's just how things work for Yam Yam.
She should have said, I promise I will never write your name down.
He's always pretty sharp on that. He knows there's one time when you want it.
Yep.
Immunity Challenge Day 23. That's another one we've seen before, but this episode, too, seemed like it was just flying by. I mean, I know it was standard length, but we got 2 challenges, and we got, some good tribe time. We got a little time at Sanctuary, but it just seemed like it was blazing.
It felt rushed. I didn't feel like we got as much time either.
So we've seen this immunity challenge before. There are 2 ropes, and then there's a disc, aka a flat plate, suspended between the 2 ropes, and then they just set a ball in there. They balance a ball on that disc, and
I
at
wanted
intervals.
to see how they put the ball on there.
Yeah.
Did somebody
Why?
come up and put it on there for them while they had the rope stretched out?
I believe
somebody
so.
would have to put it on there, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I wanted to see them do it.
Okay. And then at intervals, they have to move further back. So that amplifies small movements through the ropes and makes it harder to balance. when
Not
you're-
if you go out in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it seemed like, was it It was Jamie.
Then Carolyn.
Jamie
and
went
then
out.
Carson.
Jamie was out in under 2 minutes. I think Carolyn went out at 2 minutes, and then Carson was out by 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And during that time, we got a couple of good saves on Lauren's part. She was doing good.
Well, and even Yam Yam went out within that 5 minutes.
Yes, he went out after Carson. So it ends up being a showdown, which was great. We had a good time with this because you had chosen Lauren to go home, and I had chosen Heidi to be voted out. So we were both cheering on the opposites there.
Yep. We're both screaming at
to
him.
win. Yeah, so we were in a versus situation there,
Drop,
yelling
Lauren,
at the TV.
Drop. And you're like, Heidi, drop, Heidi.
So they both made it through the first 5-minute interval.
Of course we did that. I chose Lauren, you chose Heidi, and they're the two.
Yes,
We've done
perfect.
that before this season.
Yes. Well, it just made it that much more fun for us.
Okay, so at least they got to the reset and the second section.
Second interval.
Yep. And then eventually...
It looked like a fly was going to take Lauren out. I was thinking, is it going in her eye? Is it going in her nose or mouth? What's going on?
I was like, yes, focus on the fly.
And she saved again.
She did. Then Heidi saved and then immediately dropped.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no vote off point for me.
I was happy, and then I realized, wait a second, nobody's targeting Heidi. I was having so much fun with you and me going at each other there.
And both of us had Carolyn and Lauren saved.
Yes.
So it's like, well, it doesn't matter who else gets picked. It's still a 3-point week.
So good on Lauren. She won her second individual immunity.
Yes, that was good for her.
Hot dog.
Not good for me, but good for her.
Jim told her, good job. And then he asked Probst, can we do that challenge again?
No. I don't think it would do him a bit of good to do it again.
I was thinking he just wanted another shot at it just to see if he could do better.
What kind of nuts were they eating back at camp?
I don't know. I didn't recognize that. They had hammers and rocks, and they were going at it.
I know. I had no idea. And it was so weird that nobody was running off to talk to each other.
Jim thought so. He's like, wait a second. How come nobody's getting up and going to the well to get water? We can't talk. He wants to talk some strategy. He needs to target Carolyn and get the ball rolling.
Well, finally it happens, and they start wandering off. And Carolyn asks Heidi if she's okay voting Jamie. And Heidi's like, yeah.
Sure. Not me.
Though Heidi did say she was going to play her idol. I thought for a second there at Tribal she wasn't going to do it.
Well, she was trying to make the decision was the way I took that in her confessional, where she said that she could go with Tika and save her idol, but she was waffling on whether or not she would just go ahead and save herself tonight.
Well, you couldn't trust that it wasn't her, no matter what they said.
Yeah. And we see Yam, Carolyn, and Carson talking at the well, and then Heidi comes up and takes a conversation in a different direction. And they basically conclude that all four of them will put votes on Jamie. And Carolyn says we can't trust Jamie or Lauren. And we see Jamie talking to Lauren and asking if they're going to put their vote on Carolyn.
Yeah, and Yam tells them, let's vote Carolyn, and I'll get Carson on board.
Mm-hmm.
So he seems confident that he can get Carson on board.
This was the big thing. Yam had targeted Carolyn, and he was going for it. This is where everything's pointing us as we go through the episode.
And Carson was so surprised. I think he really thought he would change his mind, but he wasn't changing it. And then we see him in what seemed to be a really true struggle, that his gut says it should be Carolyn, but then, Carson wants Jamie, and so he's not sure whether to go with Jamie or Carolyn.
Definitely struggling. He said it feels like a betrayal. I think we saw that on Next Time on Survivor, to take Carolyn out.
Well, and he tells us he does have a lot of love for Carolyn.
Yep.
But he thinks she could win. That really scared him. Yeah.
Carson tells Yam, you're my number one. And Yam tells Carson, look, she's going to win at fire making. She made fire till her hands were bleeding.
Well, all those things are something to think about. But they do have, one more vote out before the Final Four.
Jamie, Carson's talking to Yam Yam and saying Yam Yam or Jamie or Carolyn. And we get more from Yam Yam where he's talking about how getting to live his dream destroys someone else's dream.
Yeah. Well, it has to be a struggle. You do get attached to people, and that is a very hard part of the game. And you really do have to stay focused on, hey, my family needs the money. We could do a lot with that. We could be a lot more secure. You could, help with a lot of things. And so I understand it.
We head off to tribal council, and it looks like a lose-lose for you and me. That's how we were looking at it, because it had narrowed down to, is it going to be Jamie or Carolyn getting voted out? Heidi was off the table at this point from what we could tell.
Yeah, and at that point it didn't matter as far as our JSFL score.
We're going to lose some safe points.
We had both of them safe, so it made no difference. It was like, this is a 3-point week, accept it. The only way I could have escaped a 3-point week is if they had voted Heidi out. So I was like, vote for Heidi, but nobody was talking about it anymore.
Nope, that was not on the table at this point.
I'm not sure why, though.
Don't see her as a threat for whatever reason. Off to tribal council here on night 23 of this 2-day game cycle, and we come in with Danny's wearing a poncho.
Yep, noticed that right off. It's like, okay.
Now, finally.
Yes, this was so cool. They brought their rice, their tools, even the paints.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would need the paints, but they might.
Something to preoccupy themselves in the downtime, I guess, in these last 3 days.
Yeah, no, we've seen what happens here.
We saw 41 and 42. Yeah. We know you're going to ship us off to some other location, so we brought everything.
We gave up a lot for this rice, and we are not leaving it behind.
And smartly made sure that Lauren was carrying the rice, because she's the only one that's guaranteed to go. Go forward. To
be there the next day. So that was very smart, that they were realistic enough to know that, okay, realistically, any of us could go, except for Lauren. So give her the rice to carry. I liked all of that. I thought that was really smart.
Carson catches the first question, and basically it's a soft one about how a win on the right day can change the game. And it certainly did for Lauren. Mm-hmm. But not for him, he says.
Yeah. Jim tells how scared that he is that an idol may be out there, and that only one person's vote might count, and the others won't even count.
Yeah.
So
could be.
They saw the power that an idol could have if played properly. So, and then he talks about he can't read the jury's minds, and he doesn't. I can't even read your mind, Jeff. I don't know what you're thinking.
He's definitely the go-to for humor in every tribal council.
Yep.
He has a great potential for presenting himself at the last tribal if he makes it.
So, do you think Carson was just trying to put Lauren and Jamie at ease by saying, well, there could be a breakup tonight?
I don't know how that puts anyone at ease, so not sure.
Well, I think that would imply to him that it's Carolyn, that he is going to vote for Carolyn.
Okay.
He's trying to make them feel safe so they don't turn around and vote for him if they get suspicious that he's not with them on Carolyn. They could switch the vote right there and just go, him.
How much of it, what he said, do you think was in response to Jamie, where she said everyone was being considered and now's the time to be the change and to jazz up your resume? Mm-hmm. You think that prompted it any?
Maybe.
And Yam Yam said, well, the previous groups mean nothing.
Okay. And he's just out there. Well, it's one of them or me. I got to vote somebody. So it's me or one of you. So, all right, I got to write somebody's name down.
Yep.
And Carolyn talks again about there's nothing wrong with being an emotional player, that it doesn't mean she can't play this game. Maybe that's what she was trying to convey when she came back from the last tribal council, was that, look, I am playing this game. Maybe she decided it was time to let them know before the final tribal where they might not believe her. Is that, hey, I have played this game.
Mm-hmm. Possibly.
And I am emotional, and I don't apologize for that. And then she got all scared all of a sudden and going, wait a minute, is this my goodbye?
Yeah.
Am I going
Scared it was her
home?
goodbye speech, for sure.
Well, yeah, and some of the things that I think Yam Yam and Carson were saying made her a little nervous. But Yam Yam tells us the person leaving tonight is the person that needs to leave for everyone's sake.
Perfect ambiguity.
Yeah. I'm sure Jamie's sitting there going, I'm the person that needed to go for
That was the
everyone's
biggest
sake.
threat. Yes, it's totally in keeping with how her character was presented this season. And Carolyn's
Okay.
definitely confused.
All right, and it is time to vote. So everybody votes, and at least it didn't take Carolyn an hour to vote this week. So
Yep.
I really thought when Jeff asked about the idol that Heidi wasn't going to do it.
Got us again. Surprised us again.
Yeah.
Because she
I was
ended
like,
up playing it for
what?
herself.
I was so sure
So
that
let's
she
count.
would.
Let's count all the votes that she gets. You ready?
Uh-huh.
So Carolyn gets 1, and Jamie gets 1, and then Carolyn gets 2, and Jamie gets 2.
And Jamie
then
gets 3 and 4.
Yeah, and Jamie's out.
No
Well,
votes for Heidi.
Good job, Heidi. I'm sure that's going to add tons to your resume. It was close enough. She felt that's how she managed the risk. She said now is the time from her perspective.
Well, it did
After
about
holding out all those other times.
it did about as much good as Jamie's did.
Jamie acknowledges their play and says, nice move, and love you all, and love you all, as she's on her way out.
Seemed really confused after those. She turned to Carson and said,
It was a continuation of her reaction during the pre-voting tribal council. What the heck? What's going on?
yeah.
All of a sudden, she got the vibe that it was her. And tonight, as she was watching from her home or wherever she was watching from, she realized it really was close. That
I
could
had
have been
no
me.
clue it was that close.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
Probst tells them that they were correct. They were headed off to a new beach. Good job on being prepared.
so Jamie and Lauren bought into it was Carolyn because they voted for her,
Yeah.
and the other 4 voted for Jamie. And it was bye-bye Jamie. And Probst tells them, you are leaving for a new beach, and it's good that they brought their stuff. So that's a first.
Yep. So we got a reward challenge. We got an immunity challenge. We got a visit to the sanctuary. We got some tribe time. It was just packed, but it just went hyper fast. I don't know if this is that feeling you get when you're towards the end of something or
Maybe.
what.
Maybe.
But we both felt like, wait a second, that just went crazy quick.
Yeah, it just felt like, well, I didn't feel like I got to see as much of, or for some reason, though we've talked our normal amount of time here.
What do you make of their decision to feature Jamie all season long with the fake idols and the misreads, the inability to convince people she's telling the truth,
I
the
don't
inability to
know.
fake people out? And we get here and it's a vote out and it turns out it's all a big nothing burger.
That's who they chose to make her appear to be. This bubbly, being. And I did love that Jamie loves the game so much and wanted to play it high. Even at the end, her saying, I met my goals, I found an idol, and I thought that I still believe, because they keep bringing that up and playing it every time she says it, seems like, that a Probst is going to have to reveal that
In the
at
after
the
show?
reunion show. Or,
The after show.
Yeah,
they don't do
whatever they
reunions
call
anymore.
it.
The after show.
Okay, whatever.
And that
Same
will be that will be yet another sort of wasted piece of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just
I don't
didn't
care.
play out. I was more excited every time she said it because I looked forward to when she realized
The reveal.
that was
Oh my
not
goodness.
real.
I was goofing myself the whole time.
Yeah,
And we get
so no
nada.
payoff.
Zip. Nothing.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
Okay,
so,
editors, I'm calling y'all a bunch of goobers. I don't get that at all.
Goobers, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you told them. All right, next on Survivor. Jim says, we are so happy to be the final five. This is the last leg of this game.
Carson with a bit of bravado, raising its head again, saying, everyone knows I can beat them. You thought that was taken out of context, but it looked like a complete sentence.
He had to be talking about a puzzle that they knew he could beat them.
This isn't the first time we've seen him with the big head.
Well, okay.
Feeling a bit full of himself here at the end.
Well, if he wins, he can have his big head.
Okay.
Carolyn says, I'm ready and I want to fight my way to the end. Not giving up.
So it seemed like we got some bit of grit, some content from at least Carson and Carolyn. Heidi's was, I want to be sole survivor. And
I don't want to be second. I don't want to be third. I want sole survivor. I thought, well.
And see, the rest of them just came to get second place. So, yeah.
Everyone wants
Captain
that.
Obvious. That was the best she could come up with.
Well, it's what she wants. Lauren says, this is the difference in winning $1 million or not. But we don't know what is the difference. Whether she wins the challenge or not, probably.
Nothing significant there. Well,
or whoever's got to make fire.
How do you think it's going to play out? They showed the Final Five challenge. It looks like it's a classic multi-stage big one, possibly with a puzzle finish, which is the way they've gone in the previous 40 seasons. The previous seasons in the 40s.
Yeah, it seems pretty typical. And, you got to think if there's a puzzle at the end, Carson, even though he's not the most physical person out there, if he doesn't get tripped up on, like, getting the key, that's up high, you can tell. Carolyn's very tall, and she's having trouble reaching it. So I would think Carson would struggle with that. But
he's standing on something so he can reach it.
Well, I assume she was, too.
Yeah, but this is an opportunity for her to screech a little, so...
She doesn't need an opportunity to
She
screech.
very well may not even get to the puzzle at the end.
Oh, I doubt that. But I think they'll probably all get up there. But anyway, he does have disadvantage during some of those parts of the challenge. That's not necessarily his forte, but I think Lauren and even Heidi are stronger in some of those areas than he is. But by far, if it's a puzzle he knows, and he's certainly done a lot of them, then he should have an advantage with that, if it's a puzzle.
You would think it would be almost a foregone conclusion that he will secure himself at Final Five, and that'll get his individual immunity win that he can put on his resume. His second one. Well,
if he does, then he's probably going to end up making fire.
Oh, you don't think he'll shy away the way Cassidy did?
Don't they? Wait a minute.
Like if he wins Final Four, will he put himself in a position to make fire, take that risk?
Is that when they decide who does the fire?
At 4, yes.
Oh, yeah, 4. But we're talking about the 5 challenge.
I wasn't sure if you had jumped ahead or what.
No, it's whoever wins the challenge, 4th challenge. And we don't know that Carson would have any advantage.
No.
There, because,
I was just trying to go with your flow, baby. You went to making fire.
You did not keep up with my flow.
Okay.
So, keep up. I'm just saying.
I think you got lost and
if someone
mixed
else,
them together.
No, you confused me. It was all your
It was my fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, I think whoever does win at Final Four, if it's not Carson, I'm not saying he'll choose to make fire, but I am saying that if he doesn't win, I believe they'll make him do fire.
Oh, okay. So I'll say too that whoever wins the Final Four challenge will likely put themselves in a position to make fire.
Because it's hurt people in the past?
Yeah, the way it hurt Natalie
Yeah, I don't know with
against
this
Tony.
group that it would. It depends on who wins and what they want. We've seen her making fire. They've
Yep.
showed us that she's practiced, and Jim said Carolyn had been practicing till her fingers bled making fire, which makes me think maybe she's not that good at it if her fingers bled. But anyway, Carson, has practiced.
Yeah.
Hopefully Jim has. So I think they might feel, I think when somebody gets penalized for not going against someone they think they can beat but the others couldn't, and the way that's happened in the past, I think these four are more equal with the fire, and I don't know that that'll be the case there.
Are you saying that, have you just already written Lauren off and you're saying she gets voted out at 5?
Oh, no. But she could.
It seems likely.
She could because she's a challenge threat.
Mm-hmm.
So is Heidi, I think. But
Lauren's won individual immunity twice.
But they don't want to go with Carson, and Jim doesn't want to go with Carolyn either. So is he going to try to go with Heidi and Lauren, or you don't know how it's going to go?
No,
it could go any
at
way.
5. Somebody becomes the swing vote.
Yep.
More than likely.
Yeah,
And that's the big question I see going into the finale now is, are Tika going to stay together? Are they going to try to get there?
That's the big.
And Jam seems like he came seriously close to not having that be the case.
Yeah.
And he's got the power to do it with Lauren and Heidi now.
He does. He doesn't need Carson to do it.
Right.
But they want Carson out too. So which one does Jim feel he has a better chance against, Carson or Carolyn?
Who does he fear more? Who does he think he's got a better chance winning against? Yeah.
Yeah. So he may not want to take either one of them if he has the option.
Yeah.
To choose. Because if Carson did win at 5, then they certainly couldn't send him home then. And Lauren might continue to work with Carson. We just don't know. I wouldn't necessarily, since he just sent Jamie home.
She doesn't have a lot of choices, so.
No, she doesn't.
She needs to find a buddy. A couple of them, actually.
But they all just, it's really different this season. They were so tribe together for so long.
Original tribe,
and now they're just like, meh, whoever's going to go with us, we're going. Though I guess Jamie and Lauren's.
In Carolyn and Carson's mind, they're really wanting it to be Tika. Although Carolyn's saying now that she's willing to let go of Carson.
We need him for at least one more vote.
Mm-hmm.
So that implies, though she could have just, been blowing smoke. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen. This is going to be really a tough final 5 to pick the order.
Tell you what I'm looking forward to is that listener feedback discussion on Saturday. Yeah, I want to get some different takes on this. So if you'd like to join us in the listener feedback, you can call and leave a voicemail at, JSFL update. Yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm. That would be good.
All right. How about a JSFL update? And then I'll do the listener feedback.
Yes, I could do that.
That just seemed like a natural transition. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
JSFL update.
Jack is in first place with 55 points.
Go, Jack from
All right,
California.
Jack. 7 people lost their USB. 172 people, including us,
that happens
lost a safe point.
At this point in the game, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. 36 people, congratulations, earned a vote-off point this week. In the side challenge, with 52 points, Rebecca is in first place.
Oh, my goodness. Her head's going to get huge.
All right, Rebecca. Good job. With 51 points, we have Chris and Jeremiah. 50, Justin. 48 points, Colt, Mike, Parker, and Randy. With 46, Robert. With 45, Drew. And with 43 in the basement is still Lisa Ray and Stacy.
Another 3-point week for me. Ooh, goodness.
Well, me too.
Yes, but
So
you're
you've
not in
had
the side
more.
challenge.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's because I'm
That's like the
smarter
second in a
than
row
you.
for me. You're smarter.
I'm smarter than you.
You just don't take risks.
I don't take those risks.
Yeah, I don't know. That makes you smarter.
And I can't sing, so
That's not true either.
I beg to differ. But okay.
There we are.
Yep. All right.
Okay, should be interesting going into the finale there in JSFL, and how better to get some help in making those last picks
There
than the
you go.
listener feedback show on Saturday. We got the voicemail line 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and send it in with your email, or you can write it up and send it in the email, and either Joanne or I will read it into the show on your behalf. That email address, joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturday, and we ask that you try to keep your feedback in that 3-minute range so that we can get them all in. We've had some fantastic shows, a lot to discuss as we head towards the finale. We've got everything that happened in the penultimate episode here, and how you think it's going to play out at the end. Who's going to be our final four? Who's going to end up making fire? Who's going to be our ultimate survivor for season 44?
I'm not even sure who I want to win.
No?
No,
Jam Jam seems like the front runner to me right now.
Nah.
Yeah, I know you don't like him. You've gone sour
been
on him
mad at him.
because he turned on Carolyn too early, in your opinion.
It made me mad at him.
Uh-huh.
I went in this week. I'm going to vote Lauren. I think they'll see her as a big threat to win challenges. And Lauren is Lauren. I go in this morning and I looked at, I think it was the video where Jim was talking to Carson about, no, got to get rid of Carol.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me mad at him, and I went in and said, I'm voting out Jim right now.
Yes.
I'm going, he's out this week. And I went in and I checked his name is out, and I started picking my safe points and went, I can't
won't
vote
have
him
enough
out. I
points.
won't have enough points. And so I immediately switched it and went back to Lauren. I thought, JSFL controlled how I made my picks.
Earlier choices on your behalf made by you controlled how you made your picks.
Same difference. It ended up the same.
Well, there's one where you're responsible, and then there's the other one where JSFL's responsible.
I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll have to let go of that then. Because I would have voted for him even if I didn't think he was going. I was just because I was mad at him. And then, but as soon as I saw that, oh, no, I don't have the safe points to do that. I have to do this. And so I just laughed at myself and said, oh, well.
Oh, well.
I'm going see if I can get 4 safe points, but I didn't.
Well,
so,
we look forward to hearing how you're managing your safe points for the Fantasy League, and who your picks for the final 5 are. What's your final 5 order? Who's going out at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or wins at 1? Anything else?
I was already lost thinking. No, I think we've covered it good enough. We'll talk more as always on Saturday.
Excellent. Have a good one.